So when it comes to vectors, multiplication isn't, well, it's not simple. You can't just multiply two numbers and call it a day. You actually have a choice to make, and depending on which type of vector multiplication you choose, you get completely different answers. So what are those choices, and how do you know which one to use? Let's dive in.
Think about this for a second. You've got a force, and you're applying it over a certain distance, right? Both of those things have a magnitude and a direction, which means they're vectors. Now, to figure out what actually happens when you do that, you have to multiply them. But how? This is a classic engineering problem, and the answer, well, it's a bit more interesting than you might think.
See, if you multiply those two vectors, force and distance, one way, you get work. That's just a scalar, a single number representing energy. But if you multiply those exact same two vectors a different way, you get torque, a totally new vector that describes a twisting force. Same inputs, two completely different physical results. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly which tool to grab for which job and why.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the two main concepts, the dot product and the cross product. Then we'll walk through a real-world example. I'll show you the most common trap people fall into, and we'll wrap it all up with a quick and easy cheat sheet.
All right, section 1, vectors beyond addition. We all know how to add and subtract them, head to tail. But multiplication, that's where vectors really start to show their power in describing how things work in the real world.
So you've got two main ways to do this. There's the scalar product, which we usually call the dot product. You see it with a little dot. And then there's the vector product, or cross product, shown with a cross. And this is key. One gives you just a number, but the other, it gives you a whole new vector. Let's break them down.
All right, first up, the dot product. At its heart, the dot product answers one simple question. How much are these two vectors pointing in the same direction? It's all about alignment.
Okay, so the textbook definition of A dot B is the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times the cosine of the angle between them. So what does that really mean? You're basically taking the lengths of both vectors, and then you're scaling that result based on how much they're aligned with each other.
And this brings us to my absolute favorite way to think about this, the shadow analogy. Imagine you've got a light shining directly down on vector B. The dot product is literally the length of the shadow that vector A casts onto B. It's a measurement of projection.
And here's the best part. Actually calculating this thing is super easy. You can just forget about finding the angle. All you have to do is multiply the matching components, x times x, y times y, z times z, and then just add them all up. The answer you get is just a single number, a scalar. Simple as that.
Okay, so here's a really cool and super useful trick. What happens if two vectors are perfectly perpendicular, 90 degrees apart? Well, the cosine of 90 degrees is 0. So if that dot product spits out a 0, boom, you know for a fact those vectors are perpendicular. It's like one vector casts no shadow on the other at all.
Okay, so the dot product is great for checking if vectors are perpendicular. But what if you need to actually make a new vector that's perpendicular to the two you already have? Well, for that job, we need our second tool, the cross product. The cross product, A cross B, is a totally different beast. It actually creates a brand new vector. The length or magnitude of this new vector is the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B times the sine of the angle this time. And its direction? It's always perpendicular to the flat plane that A and B live on. And that little A sub n at the end, that's just a way of saying, hey, the direction is perpendicular to the first two.
And for this one, the perfect analogy is turning a wrench. Think of vector A as the wrench itself and vector B as the force you apply. The cross product, A cross B, is that resulting twisting action, the torque, that points straight out of the bolt. And to find that direction, you just use the right-hand rule. Point the fingers of your right hand along vector A, curl them toward vector B, and wherever your thumb is pointing, that's the direction of your new vector.
Okay, so how in the world do you calculate this thing? It looks a little scary, but it's really just a mechanical process, using something called a 3x3 determinant. You just set up a little grid, the unit vectors go on top, the components of your first vector go in the middle, and the components of your second vector go in the bottom. So when you crunch the numbers on that determinant, this is the formula that pops out. And listen, do not try to memorize this formula. Seriously, just understand that it's a step-by-step process of multiplying and subtracting that gives you the precise components of your brand new perpendicular vector. All right, enough theory. Let's put this stuff to work with a real example. We're going to use the dot product to solve a really common problem, finding the angle between two vectors.
So here's the setup. We've got vector A and vector B, and we know their components. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to find the angle between them. And since this is a question about alignment, we know the dot product is the perfect tool for the job.
Okay, step 1. Let's get the dot product. Remember, it's easy. We just multiply the matching components. So first up, the x components, 3 times 0. Then the y's, 4 times 2. And finally, the z's, 1 times -5.
You add those up, and we get a nice, clean number, 3. So A dot B is 3.
Okay, next we need the actual lengths, or magnitudes, of each vector. You just square each component, add them up, and take the square root of the whole thing. It's basically just the 3D version of the Pythagorean theorem. So that gives us the square root of 26 for A and the square root of 29 for B.
All right, we have everything we need. We're just going to take that original dot product formula and rearrange it a bit to solve for the cosine of the angle. We plug in our dot product, which was 3, on top. And on the bottom, we put the product of our two magnitudes. That gives us about 0.1092.
And the last step is super simple. We just hit the inverse cosine button on our calculator to get the angle by itself, and voila! The angle between these two vectors is about 83.7 degrees.
Okay, pay close attention to this next part. This is probably the #1 place where people trip up with vector multiplication. It is a critical rule you just have to remember.
The bottom line is this. With the cross product, order matters. It matters a lot. A cross B is absolutely not the same thing as B cross A. Think back to that right-hand rule. If you go from A to B, your thumb points up. But if you reverse it and go from B to A, your thumb points down. The result is a vector with the same length but in the exact opposite direction. A cross B equals -B cross A.
Whew, okay, that was a lot. So let's boil it all down to a simple cheat sheet you can take with you.
Okay, if you remember nothing else from this explainer, remember these 3 things. 1, the dot product is for alignment. It gives you a scalar, just a number, and you should think shadow. 2, the cross product creates a new perpendicular vector. It gives you another vector, and you should think wrench. And 3, the absolute golden rule, order matters for the cross product.
And I want to leave you with one final thought. We now have a tool that can create a new direction, a new force that's perpendicular to 2 other things. So, where else in the universe does that happen? Think about a charged particle moving through a magnetic field. The force it feels is perpendicular to both its velocity and the field itself. It's a super powerful concept you'll see everywhere. Thanks for tuning in.